Hey guys, today's question is find longest special substring that occurs thrice 1. Okay, so in this question we are given with a string s and we have to find the longest special substring. A special substring is made up of only a single character, so there cannot be different characters in that string like DDD, ZZ, F are specials, where the ABC is not special, okay, because it contains different characters. Now we have to return the longest special substring, and the longest substring is which occurs at least thrice. Okay, so that substring should occur at least thrice in the given string. Okay, otherwise if we don't found any longest substring in s, we have to return -1, and it is defined the definition of substring. And now let's see this example one. So s equals to aa and output is 2 here, because let's say if we choose this size 3, there are no three substrings of size 3 of containing characters a. If we choose size 2, okay, so this is a valid substring, okay, special substring. This is another special substring, and this one is another special substring. So we have found three substrings, like here given also, of AA, and AA, and there are no maximum length achievable than 2. Okay, if we choose length 1, it is also valid because there are four substrings of length 1, but we have to find the maximum length, so output is 2. Okay, now in this case s equals to a b c d e f, there are no substrings that are occurring at least thrice. Okay, so here is a substring a, but there is no a occurring thrice, it is occurring only once, and all the characters are occurring only once. Okay, or if these characters were occurring twice also, that was not a special substring. Okay, so in this case we return -1. Now in third example, output is 1 because this a, we can see this is occurring 3 times in the string. Okay, single a. So this is the case. Now the simple approach is to, as constraints are very low, s dot length less than equals to 3, as constraints are very low, so what the simple approach is to generate all the substrings. Okay, using the two nested loops for I equals to 0, I less than n I plus plus, and j equals to I, j less than n plus plus, and just store all the strings in a unordered map. Okay, and then in that unordered map, traverse in that unordered map and check what is the maximum length of the substring that is whose count is greater than equals to 3. Okay, so that will be the brute force approach. Now if we don't want the solution to be in O of n square, okay, if let's say constraints were stronger, so what we can also do, like we do in many binary search problems, is that the range is fixed only. Okay, the range of the answer is fixed. As if the given string is 4, the minimum answer can be 1. Okay, the minimum answer can be 1, the length of the longest substring, and the maximum answer will be s dot size -2. Okay, because only this size will give the three substrings, at least three substrings. Okay, so we have found the range. In that range we can use binary search, and for every length we can check if there exists any special substring or not. Okay, so if there exists any special substring, so then we have to move in the right side. Okay, we have to move the start pointer to the mid +1 because we have to find the longest substring. Okay, and if we don't found the special substring in that particular length at which the mid is currently, then we have to write and equals to mid -1, because then we have to check for the small substrings. Okay, so that is our approach. And how we will check is the for the current length, if there exists any substring occurring thrice or not, we will use a frequency array and a substr count array, and we will, like we simply do in the sliding window, we will generate a window of the current size, and then simply we will move the ith pointer, jth pointer, and change the values in the given vectors. And also we will use a counter that will track the count of number of different characters occurring in the at given time of the substring. Okay, now let's code to understand it more well. So initially, as it is given, if we don't found any answer should be -1. That's why I've taken it -1 initially, and start will be 1, the minimum size substring, and the end, as I explained, s dot size -2. because no string greater than s dot size minus 2 will give 3 different substrings. Okay, now we will simply use the binary search. So this approach, O of n, we will take O of n time for traversing substrings and log n time for this binary search. So the overall complexity will be reduced to n of n log n. Okay, int mid equals to start plus n minus start by 2 as always. Okay, this is same as n plus start by 2. And now if the current mid is valid, that means I can get the substring, the longest this length special substring, and now we will write that function later. First complete this binary search function. So start equals to mid plus 1 because we have to find the longest. If you found the answer, we will move to the right side only, and if we don't found an answer, we will simply move to the left side. So end will be shifted to mid minus 1, and now finally after this while loop we can return the answer that we got. Now let's write the function here. So let's write the is valid function that will tell if the current length is valid or not. That means if we are getting any special substring in the current range. So we are passing two things, mid and the string, integer mid and string and s. Now we have to take two arrays also. First will be the frequency array, so that we get frequency every time, and we will use this array to update the counter. And another array is vector int count f sub str, which will store the number of substrings of same letter. Okay, because only there can be a substring starting from A to Z only, so there will be only 26 different substring in that case. So let's name it as count sub str and also 26 size 0. Now I've taken the arrays as 26 size, so we will subtract minus A to get those indexes. Initially count will be 0 and I will be also 0. So first let's take the window from the initial window. We are using the sliding window approach here. Okay, so we will form the initial window. So this mid is the length. Okay, this mid is always the length, it's not as index. So for this length the initial window will be I equals 0, I less than mid. Okay, because we're starting from 0 and I plus plus. Now if I found a different character, okay, if you found a new character, that means the frequency of that character will be 0. Okay, so I have to update the counter that will store how many different characters are currently in the given substring. Okay, so if I found a different character, then I will simply increase the value of counter. And how I will know that it is a different character? If the current frequency is 0. Okay, that means I have not founded that value in the current range. Okay, so if this value is 0, then we have to update the counter, increment the counter I mean, and every step of course we will change the frequency of the current character that we are at, s of my minus a plus plus. Okay, so this for loop will generate the initial window of size mid. After that we have to move with the sliding window approach. First let's check the count for the current window because it is also a valid window. So if count double equals to 1, then we have to update the count sub str because this is a valid index, and we found one substring. Okay, and we have to check if there are three substrings or not. So s of 0 minus a will be incremented. Now window move to right side. Okay, so let's use a while loop. Initially, let's take j as 0, which will be the left index, and I is of course the right index. So use the while loop here. While I is less than s dot side, I is the right index. Then again we have to check these conditions. If the new character that is occurring, which is at the ith index, if the frequency of that character is 0, that means it is a new character. Okay, in that case you have to increment counter. And when we are moving from the left side, when we are incrementing j, then we have to check if the current character's frequency is 1 or not. Because the current character's frequency is 1 and then we are deleting that character, that means the frequency of that character is changing to 0. In that case you have to also decrement the counter. Okay, so if frequency of s of I minus a is 0, same condition that we wrote here, count plus plus, and every point we have to write this frequency, update the frequency array as s of I minus a plus plus. Now also we have to update the I at every index because we are moving to the right side. Now when we are shrinking the window from the left side, when we are moving the jth pointer to the right side, first you have to check if you have to update counter or not. So if frequency of s of j minus a double equals to 1, that means there was only one character, and now we are deleting that character from current substring. So we will write count minus minus, and of course we will update the frequency of s of j minus a and decrement that also, and now j will move to the right side also. And after the whole execution, after these three steps, if the current count is 1, okay, if the current count is 1, that means there is only one character in the given substring. Okay, there are no different characters. In that case we can update the count substr because we have found another valid substring. And now after this while loop execution, we have to check how many valid substring we found. If we found greater than 3 valid substring for any index in the count substr, that means the current mid is valid. Okay, so we'll run a loop for auto index in count substr. Okay, if any index have value greater than equals to 3, so if x greater than equals to 3, we can simply return true. Otherwise, if we don't return true in any case, we will simply return false in the end. Okay, that means no character has 3 or greater than 3 valid substrings. So let's run this. The compilation error, line 20. Here it should be if. Okay, let's run again. We got that array. Wait a second. Okay, so count equals to 0, I equals to 0, and now for int I equals to 0, I less than mid, I plus plus. S of I minus a equals to 0, then we increment the counter s of I minus a plus plus, and if count equals to 1, then we update the count substr. Okay, substr s of 0 minus a. That looks fine. What's the problem here? Now j is taken as 0, and okay, I updated the I here. Wait a second. You have to take a I from the previous I that had. Okay, let's submit this. So the code is accepted. Thank you for watching.